Good afternoon everyone, welcome back to the Nature Patch. My name's Robin and I am going to be sowing some more of my seeds today. We've pretty much skipped spring and we're into summer now, or that's how it is in the subtropics where I live. We either get hot or cool. So today we had 33 degrees Celsius, which was pretty hot. I had to turn the air conditioner on for a little bit and it's only just turned spring. So I'm filming this outside and it is kind of like peak hour at the moment, so you just have to excuse some of the car noises and the lovely background as well of the clothesline and a massive tarp that I'm just letting dry, and Amy's got to help me fold that up. But I thought I would just do a quick video on mainly just to review these cardboard cups. I get these from my local cheap dollar store, I suppose you could say. You get about a pack of 18 or 60, and I can't remember exactly, for about $2 to $3 or so, which I find pretty affordable, and they're the perfect size for raising seedlings, and I found that they do really well for things like tomatoes. So I've been raising all of my tomatoes in these little pots and they've done really well. So this is one of the tomatoes grown in the pot. It feels like it could just almost break away if I pull at it really quickly, and you can kind of see, might be a little bit hard, but you can start to see some of the little roots coming out the bottom, which indicates that it's not constraining the plant at all if it wants to grow more. When I put this in the ground, those roots will break through and grow out of it. This is another example of some roots coming through. This one is a beefsteak tomato, so I mean all of the tomatoes are going to get pretty big, but when I plant this in the ground I just kind of like trim off a lot of the lower leaves and plant it up to about here or so, so that all down here can then grow roots when it goes in the ground, and this will just disintegrate. So I find these pretty good for things like tomatoes, and today I'm going to be using these for some of my bush beans. So I really need to get some of my bush beans in the ground, so I'm going to be planting 6 bush beans, and the varieties that I'm going to be planting is, I'm going to be planting 3 of the strike bush beans, and I'm also going to be planting 3 of the royal burgundy bush beans. So these bush beans need to be sowed 2 millimeters deep, so perfect for these little cups. And then when these are ready to go on the ground, which I'm sure will probably be in a week or 2, I can just pop them straight in, and that way I know that they're definitely going to come up. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I did plant some beans. I planted some climbing beans in a row, but some of them just didn't germinate. So I've got a few patches here and there, and with the bush beans I want to make sure that they're germinating, so I can assure that they're going to do that when I plant them in pots. I can see which ones and which ones didn't germinate, and then I can put them in the ground knowing that I'm actually putting the plant in the ground rather than just a seed that may not have been viable. So with these, it's just, I've used them the same as a pot like this, but I just do add a little bit of a hole onto the bottom there just to allow for some extra drainage. The only thing with these ones is that they do tend to dry out a little bit more than the pots do, and these also can't go on like a tray that catches the water. So I put these on trays with holes in them so that they're not sitting in water, which will just kind of like decompose this straight away. I have a bucket of soil down here at the moment, and I'm packing in the soil fairly firm, because when you do water pots, the soil does sink down a little bit, so you want to make sure it's nice and firm. So that's what it looks like there. The soil that I'm using for these, I'm just using some potting mix with a bit of organic compost mixed in and a tiny little bit of organic fertilizer, and I find that's been working really well for some of the bigger seeds that have been germinating in pots. So all I'm gonna do is get my little seed, and I'm just gonna make a little hole in the pot just with a permanent marker, and then just put it in the hole 2 centimeters down and pat it down. So I'm going to do that for the rest of these, and then I'm going to sow some other seeds as well. But I'd love to know what kind of things you're planting at the moment. If you're in the southern hemisphere, have you planted out all of your spring and summer crops yet, or are they still inside in greenhouses? I'd love to know. I find this climate here quite challenging to work with in gardening. I've only ever really done gardening up in the tropics, up in northern Queensland where I grew up, or closer to the coast in Brisbane where the climate is a little bit more moderated. It doesn't get as cold at night. But we moved a bit further out west because we wanted some more land that was affordable. We're just renting, by the way. We don't actually own this property, and the owner is totally fine with us doing what we want with the garden. But yeah, I find it really challenging because I feel like I need a greenhouse here because it still gets cold at night, but then during the days it gets really hot. So even if I did have a greenhouse, I'd have to worry about like regulating the temperature in it during the day because it would get really hot in there. It's like the extremes of the highs and lows are a lot different here than I'm used to. So I've had to really adapt on how I do things. So now that the temperature isn't getting as low during the week, I am just going crazy and planting everything because at least it'll give it a little bit of time to either germinate or get some good growth on. So all of these ones with the red are the Royal Burgundy. Make a mental note, Robin, although it's pretty simple. One thing I'm definitely not a fan of in this season other than snakes is the bloody birds. So I tried to go for a walk this morning and got swooped by a magpie. And if you've ever been swooped by a magpie, like, it's up there on some of the most terrifying experiences of your lifetime. Mainly because they get so close to your face. And last year I was going for a walk around where I used to live and a bird hit me in the air, like was swooping me, and then just like smacked into the side of my ear and my head and made my ear bleed. And it did it, and I was just like, what just happened? And then I started crying, and then I called Scott being like, I don't know what just happened, but the bird was trying to kill me basically. The day after, the Brisbane City Council put up a sign warning people that birds were swooping in the region, so obviously I was a day early on that one. But you know, magpies have got to have their babies, they've got to, you know, do their thing, so fun, I guess. I actually had a friend when I was growing up who got swooped by a magpie and had to get stitches in his head. So honestly, I just swear all most things in Australia just want to kill you. Like, but no, I do love Australia though. It will always be home. Okay, another thing I'm going to be planting is the Kajari melon. I believe this originates from India or something like that. Made famous by Roots and Refuge. I am determined to get these to grow. Luckily I got these seeds pretty early on because I think they're kind of sold out in Australia. So I'm really hoping I can get at least one melon so that I can save the seeds from that. Best of luck, my friend. I'm also thinking about doing some cooking videos soon because one of my other major passions in life other than gardening is baking. Love to bake cakes and muffins and slices, and can't wait to be able to use some of the produce that I grow in my cooking. I mean, I use it in cooking, but I'd like to be able to use it in baking. I love anything baked with pumpkins and zucchinis, so I'm very excited for that. Those are in the ground or in the pots, and I'm hoping that they grow. Alright, grow well. I'm also going to be planting some of these cucumbers as well. Okay, so I finished sowing the rest of those ones. I also sowed some Jap pumpkins. I think these are also called Kent pumpkins. And some golden scallopini, which is like the patty pan squash. And 2 of the Queensland Blues, which are just like a really, really nice pumpkin that I always like getting from the markets if I can. I think I'm going to put a lot of these in the big bed that Scott and I built on the weekend, which is going to be the squash bed. And all of the beans are going in the main patch as well. The sound of the cicadas and the birds to me just like sounds like summer. It sounds glorious, even though it is definitely not glorious with the temperature. Alright, so I have finished. So I'm going to find a place for them all and give them a good drink. I also need to go around and water everything else because that is the daily chore at the moment, is to water the garden. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this video of me sowing some seeds. I would definitely recommend those cardboard pots. I find them really easy to handle and they're great when you can just put them in the ground. You don't have to disturb the roots at all, which are really great for beans. Alright, I need to go take my cat outside because she is being a little bit of a drama queen. Please like this video if you do like it, and subscribe for more videos if you like my style of videos, I suppose. I love meeting new people on here, so please comment down below where you're from, and I'd love to kind of check out your garden videos as well. Thank you so much for watching this one, and until my next one, happy gardening. Bye guys.